G'day guys, what's cracking? It's Ralph here, and today I have for you a brand new drone from Potensic. It's called the Atom, and Potensic made it for people that are wanting to get into the drone world, that don't have a massive budget, but still want to take great video, great photos, learn how a drone works, and enjoy themselves with this beautiful flying machine. So that's what we're going to get into today. I'm going to give you a bit of a tutorial about how it works, a bit of a review about what we should expect from it, and well, let's get into it. Here it is in this nice, beautiful bag. We simply turn this around and open it up, and yeah, smells good, smells new. We have our strap for the bag. Here is the controller. Now with drones, your phone is needed, whether that's an Apple phone or a Samsung or a Google or whatever it is, then you put your phone in here. So these are the antenna. We click up the antenna, which will aid the drone's range just here. We have our joystick controllers down here, so they pull off and screw in to the little balls and holes up there, and then I can just control it like this, and my phone fits in the middle. And if your phone's not that big, it's okay. It's okay. So your phone fits in there. You also have a cable that runs from here through the bottom of where the joystick hits, comes out through this little hole and plugs into the side of your phone so it can nestle in there, be jammed in there. I'll show you how that works in just a second, but that's really handy, nice and smooth. I like it. We have our battery bank. Now the battery bank is where we charge the batteries. One of these batteries goes in your drone, so the missing one goes in your drone. This is what it looks like. You just click that out. It's quite heavy and weighty, which is what you want from a battery. It's what you expect. You click it in, you've plugged it into USB-C or your direct power there, and it will light up here as to how it's charging. So 4 lights, and constant lights means it's charged. Less than that means you've got to keep going. You can put all 3 batteries in if they're low, and they will gradually charge through. So it gives you lots of flying time. So 3 batteries is really good, because when you get it up and you're really excited, then you're like, got to bring it down because you're running out of battery. Bring it down, turn it off, battery out, new battery in, up in the air, away you go. The fun continues. Let me just give you a look at a top down of what this looks like. It's pretty fancy, isn't it? So we've got the drone controller here. Here are the batteries that we just talked about. Here is a power cord to plug your batteries into. That's the power bank there, the power cable there, and then tucked under this little beautiful safe compartment is our drone. Yes, come on. So this comes with a nice strap which holds everything in. I think that's good when it comes to a bag like this, because when you can put it in, what can happen is the propellers can get bent out or snapped off, whatever. So with this little Velcro elastic strap, which you need to be careful about, can keep it all safe and harnessed. Now you'll notice as I pull this off, you'll notice a couple of things. One, the propellers are already on. So we take these off, and the thing about drone propellers is they're not static. They're meant to flop around. So my first drone ever freaked me out. I'm like, what do I do? It took me ages to search and realize I was just overreacting. They're meant to be floppy. So we take all these extra access plastic things off of our drone. It's like a free little bird. And also we have a camera cover. So if you pull this camera cover gently off, like so, then you remove the foam holder. You can then put this back on, and you do that by clipping in the front and then pushing down the back, so it makes it all nice and safe. And then let me show you how drones work. So you pull out the top, and then you pull out the bottom, and you pull out the top, and you pull out the bottom. And there it is. That is the Atom, ladies and gentlemen. And the battery fits in the back by me unclipping this and pulling it out. And every battery has a USB-C, so you can directly charge your battery when your drone's in, or you can pull it out, plug it into a separate charger if you don't want to sort of take this whole thing with you, and you can pull this in and go the next one. They slot in. It's a nice finish. There's a bit of a satisfying click. Has your sensors underneath the drone, and on the front, that's to help you not crash. Now, before we take it outside and get it up in the air, you need to download the app. There's instructions that come with it. There's a couple more things in the bag that you might need to be aware of. They are the joining cables. So basically any phone setup you have, this can handle. They even give you a cable to charge, and so you can use this to either charge your batteries by plugging this end in, or charge all your batteries by plugging this end in and pop that in the computer or in another charger. They give you spare propellers. They give you lots of spare propellers. They are expecting you to not be good at flying. The first time you fly your drone, don't be stressed if you crack a propeller. Happened to me the very first time. Put my drone on a rock. It was the dumbest thing ever. Went to take off. It didn't have any purchase, and it slid down the rock and chewed up all the propellers. Like before I got it in the air. I'm like, wow. Go Ralph. And you can purchase these on their website. There'll be links in the description below to all this stuff. I'm very impressed with this bag. Like it's got some cushioning and soft. It's firm still, has some components that you can move around and compartments that you can change the size of. Has an external pocket here. You can put your drone license in here. In Australia, you need, depending on how you're going to fly your drone, you need different licenses. So you can put your license in there so it's always there and carry it all around in this nice little bag. This isn't the first time I've done something dumb in this studio with a drone. So willing to take a risk for you guys. Plug it in like this, plug in the app like that. I can keep it in my case, it's not a problem. I'm going to hold down the controller to turn that on. I take a battery out. These are fully charged. Your batteries have to be fully charged. You also have to activate them by plugging it in and then attaching a USB-C to it. That activates the battery and you're good to go. So I know I'm good to go. On the back it has these lights and this button. So if I click and then hold that down, comes alive. I'm going to take off the cover. You always take off the cover so the gimbal can roam free. Just going to rest him there. He's got some lights on, full battery lights here. This light to indicate that he's working. Entering the device. That's this device. Oh, it's happening. Look. Yes, come on. It's working. Do not fly these at home. Doesn't matter what you see on stupid YouTube videos, do not do this at home. So I hit the up button and then I swipe across. Oh, that's incredible. Oh, the control is amazing. Let's go outside. When outside, it's really important to calibrate your drone so it knows where you are and where it is in relation to everything else. And so the calibration option comes up. We go start calibration and you hold it horizontal and then you just turn like this. You do a full 360 until it's satisfied. And then you hold it up to the sky and you go around a full 360, nice and slow, till it's satisfied. Calibration is finished. Takeoff is now permitted because it's connected to the GPS. So we are ready to fly. You put it on a nice flat surface, make sure there's nothing else around. If we shoot it on the grass, you want to make a little bit of a rise in the grass where there's a very little bit of grass so it doesn't get caught in the propellers. We then click this, stand back, stand behind the drone so the drone is pointing forward. We slide this to take off. Have a look at the stability. Let's take it up a little bit. You can change what the gimbal focuses on and how it focuses. You have to be very careful in high winds because that could be the last thing you ever see of your drone. And it's quite windy today, but that gives you a sense and picture. Now I can record from this red button, so I can record video. What do you think? It's pretty nice, isn't it? All right, so it's in feet. And I imagine you can change that to meters and you can change that to kilometers per hour. There's a whole bunch of settings that you have access to on your drone. And as you can see, this is just a beautiful area around where I live. The drone is about to reach the maximum height, which is 196. It's very high. So I'm going to bring it down. There's a button here that tells you exactly where your drone is. Can I bring it home if I need to? I can. If I do that, I can select landing method and I can choose to return. So return beeping. So usually what happens is the drone goes up in the air to a desired height, which you can set, and then it comes back to you just by the press of a button. I like to manually do it though. going to take a top-down shot. If I click that off, I click my photo button, changes it over to photo. You can control all of the parameters on this. This says it's shooting on JPEG. Can I shoot RAW? I can shoot RAW. Come on. And let's shoot a RAW photo with that. We'll have a look at that in a minute in the studio. And then it processes. You take the shot, it processes. You can then reframe what your shot looks like. I'm going to then go over here, take one. Let's go the bit of a distance. That's the city in the background. I love the city. So we'll take another shot there. And at the moment, as you can see, it's just holding steady, not moving much at all, and some birds around. So when there's birds around, these are just seagulls. I'm not nervous, but I'm going to bring it down, given it's its maiden voyage. And then using the swivel wheel here, you can actually direct where the gimbal faces, and then you direct where it faces here by moving your actual drone. It tells you where your degrees are on your right hand side or at the top in that little icon there, and I can spin this around and point the gimbal in any direction I want. But that's really quite fluid, isn't it? It's quite smooth. I'm impressed. Let me go a bit faster. Battery life is holding up well. Oh, everyone's got a pool. I don't have a pool. Should we get a pool? What do you reckon? Put in the comments below. Should I get a pool? Not get a pool. Not even if 1,000 of you say you should get a pool. Oh, maybe. If 1,000 of you comment that I should get a pool, I might get a pool. I'm remarkably impressed with this. For the price point you get for this drone and what it can do, it's outstanding. I've used a lot of questionably quality drones in the past. This hovers without you having to do anything, which is ideal. You need that for a drone. You can control the gimbal pitch speed. You can control where the drone is and the speed it goes by the pressure you put on the joysticks. And you have just amazing control. It's very intuitive. It's still got 68% of its battery life still to go. And has 20 minutes and 46 seconds. And I imagine when it gets down to about 25% or 30%, it'll tell you to return it. That's because you can be a long way away and it takes that distance to get back to you, because you might have to battle against the wind or other elements that you might not realize at the time. So always pay attention to that. If you're flying real local like this, it's not really a big deal. But if you sort of launch it over the sea or launch it anywhere else, you really need to be careful and pay attention to both the alarms and the data on the time left with the battery. But that's really good battery life. So if you had 3, you could fly for an hour quite easily. Just bring it back, pull out the battery, slot a new one in. And then to land, it's easy. You just push it down. You need to put your drone over the area you want to land it. You hold that down until it lands. It lands and turns off. Come on, peeps, come on. I was a little bit skeptical. I honestly was. I thought I'd give it a go. This is the drone to buy if you're a beginner, you want a cheap entry into the market, and you want some quality video and photos. But we'll jump to the studio now and have a look at what we actually get out of it. We'll talk battery life just for a moment. So it gives you an indicator on the screen that it's back in the studio. I can show you what this footage is like. Now this is shot in 4K. The camera actually shoots in 4K at 30, 25 and 24 frames a second. At 2.7K at 30, 25 and 24 frames a second, and 1080p you can shoot up to 60, which is half speed, and 50, 30 and 25 and 24 frames a second. So you'll get a bit of a feel for it. You'll notice immediately that the darks and the shadows are really quite dark compared to the detail of the lights. That means there's a limit on the dynamic range that the drone can have, but you have complete manual control. So you can control the manual settings of this camera to get exactly what you want. And if we flip over to this footage, you won't see that issue at all. Comes up really nice. The micro SD card comes already plugged into the drone, so you're ready to fly, and you access that by pulling out the battery, pushing the little card which pops it out, and then you can plug it into your computer and away you go. The photos I got out of this were shot at 12 megapixels. You can choose RAW if you like, and it shoots JPEG and RAW. So here are those shots side by side, so you can see the difference and what to expect coming out of this camera. You just need to make sure that the drone is dead stable and not moving when you take a photo, otherwise it's going to be a bit blurry. And you have the control of shutter speed between 1/24th of a second all the way up to 1/25,000th of a second, which is super quick. I didn't have as much control over the raw files as I would have liked. There was some degree of movement from the highlights and shadows, But when I really wanted to push it, it didn't have the effect that I thought it might otherwise would have had. So a raw file is more editable than a JPEG, but not perhaps as editable as I would have preferred it to be. But the quality of this 4K footage is just wonderful. I'm very impressed. I've used 4K footage before that feels more like 1080 or 720, but this actually feels really good, especially if we zoom in there for you so you can get a good feel of it. I think the final thing to say is if you pull this out and you realize that it's all bumpy like this, it's because you need to calibrate your gimbal. So first thing you should do, as we covered before, calibrate your drone, then calibrate your gimbal. It's just a setting on the options in those top 3 dots in the display panel, and you'll be able to be walked through that really quickly. It does it automatically for you and gives you nice smooth finish. You can even change the speed at which your gimbal tilts, and that gives you smoother transitions. And I would encourage, sometimes an information screen comes up and blocks what you're doing, so you can just set the ignore button to them once you've read it and you've got that detail away, and you should be right to fly and get the very most out of this drone. I sincerely believe that if you want a drone that's going to introduce you to flying, to enjoy flying, to get the hang of it, and to expand your skills as a beginner, then the Potensic Atom drone is the one for you. Easy to use, very adaptable to whatever phone you might have, hovers by itself, great video, great photos, extremely affordable price, and there's a link in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.